Hi, I'm Fraser Douglas, the avid tent camper. Now you can say it.
I'm Alos.
And this is my buddy, Alos. And in this video, we want to tell you about our recent trip to Lincoln State Park and Santa Claus Land in southern Indiana. I hope you enjoy. Lincoln State Park and Holiday World are located about 70 miles west of Louisville, Kentucky, 140 miles south of Indianapolis, Indiana, and about 250 miles north of our home near Huntsville, Alabama. Ava's son and his family joined us on this trip. Ava and I have camped here twice before and consider this park as one of our favorite camping destinations. The park has two campgrounds. The Lake Lincoln Electric Campground is by far the most popular, and that's where we stayed. But it also has a more economically priced primitive campground with no water and electricity. Many of these sites are relatively crowded, but it does have a very nice bathroom. The Lake Lincoln Campground has 150 sites. Those in the northwest corner, shaded in gray, have 50 amp electrical service and a reserve for large RVs. Sites in the northeastern section of the campground are relatively large, but also very sloped, with very few good level spots for tents. Sites in the southern half of the campground are much more level, and those along the far western edge are my favorite, with site number 56 probably being my first pick in the campground. We left our home at 5 a.m. on Wednesday, July the 18th, and headed north. After making a couple of stops along the way, we arrived at our campground destination about 11:30 in the morning. We got two sites that were very close to the main bathroom, and when we arrived, the campground was roughly 50 to 60% full. The first thing that we did after arriving at our campsites was to eat lunch. Ava's daughter-in-law had made some Mexican mole with chicken, which we warmed up and served with rice. Boy, was it a good lunch. Then we started setting up our camp. The first tent we set up was our Marmot Limestone 6 for Ava's son, his wife, and Alos, their youngest son. Alos has been on several camping trips with us, and so he knew what to do about assembling the poles and sliding them through the sleeves. Here is that tent almost completely set up. Then we set up the old REI family dome for the two teenage boys and the REI Kingdom 4 for Ava and me. After setting the tents up and the sleeping areas, we set up our kitchen canopy and our kitchen area. We always leave our food in the back of the car to avoid animal scavenger problems, but in this campsite we were able to back the car right up to our kitchen area. And we moved our two picnic tables to an area that was shady during the afternoon. After getting our campsite set up, we went down to the beach and enjoyed a couple of hours swimming in the lake, and then we returned to our campsite to relax during the early evening. I slept well Wednesday night and got up early Thursday morning. The first thing that I did is went to the camp store to buy some ice. Then I drove up to Gobbler's Run Campground just to see how many campers were up there, and found 3 campsites occupied. Then I checked out the bathrooms. Boy, were they nice. And then I returned to our campsite and started cooking breakfast. First bacon, and then a Mountain Man breakfast. After breakfast, we headed over to Holiday World, which is about 5 miles away. If you've never been there before, look for the large yellow ball because it's in the parking lot of Holiday World. We got there after it had opened, and so the lines were long, but they moved pretty fast. This park is perhaps best known for its large roller coasters, which are said to be some of the best in the world. After entering the park, you'll find 4 holiday areas plus the water park. Each holiday area has a number of rides for children and adults of all ages, plus shops and other attractions. The first area is Christmas area, and after Christmas you have to decide whether you want to go to Halloween area or the 4th of July area. Both of these will lead to the Thanksgiving area, but the Halloween area will also take you to the water park. On our first day, we decided to go into the 4th of July area, and this Lewis and Clark Trail was the first ride that Alos tried. Then he enjoyed riding the merry-go-round and the flying eagles. Meanwhile, the 2 older boys tried their luck shooting baskets and won 2 small basketballs plus this large playground ball. While in the Thanksgiving area, Alos decided he wanted this baseball painted on his face, and then we went to the water park. After returning to our campsite and eating supper, it started to rain. Well, we got a nice little rainstorm.
Hey! It'd be good to catch
Water's
water.
pouring off the tarp. We still got to wash dishes tonight. There's even a raincoat.
Thunder!
Lights there. Marty? Hola!
Hello!
Friday morning, I ran to the store to get ice and then took Alos to the playground. He's a very social child who loves playing with other children. After playing with the other children for a while, we walked around the park and took a few photos. After eating a little bit of breakfast, we drove back to Holiday World, where we spent a second very long day. For most of the day, I sat in the shade next to the wave pool while everybody else explored various different rides and attractions. Friday evening was relatively uneventful, but later in the night, after going to the bathroom, I returned to my tent to find a skunk standing near the open door of my tent. Without thinking, I clapped my hands loudly to try to scare it away, and then realized that I may have made a mistake. Fortunately, it didn't spray, and it walked away. Saturday morning, Ava's niece and her 3 children joined us for the day. We spent most of the morning eating breakfast and catching up on the family gossip, and then we went down to the beach and swam for a couple of hours. It was a cool day, and the children got chilled after a while. So we came back to the campsite, changed into warm clothes, and began to hang out and relax. In this campground, many children and adults enjoy walking in the streets and riding their bicycles late in the afternoon. The atmosphere is kind of like a party, and our family joined in by playing in the street. We cooked a big pot of beef stew for supper and then started a campfire so that the kids could roast marshmallows. We had hoped to get over to Lincoln's boyhood home this day, but we just did not have enough hours in the day. That night, Ava's niece and her 3 children all slept in the small REI family dome. It rained hard Saturday night, and so everything was wet Sunday morning. But we had to get home, and so we began taking our camp apart piece by piece. Here I am rolling a wet tent. When we got home, we had to open all of our tents and all of our tarps and spread them out so that they would dry and not mildew. Here's what our garage looks like with 3 tents, their ground cloths, and their rain flies opened up.
Go tent camping.
Wait a second. In just a minute. Well, I hope that you've enjoyed this little overview of our recent trip to Lincoln State Park and Santa Claus Land. And I hope that you'll consider coming this way if you don't live too far away. It's a wonderful vacation destination. For more information about Lincoln State Park and other Indiana campgrounds, please read my book, The Family Camping Guide to Wisconsin, Michigan, Illinois, and Indiana. And also visit my website, www.basictentcamping.com. Remember, take more trips, travel further, visit more attractions like Santa Claus Land, and save money.
Go tent camping.